production of the ETV Live Auto Sports Entertainment Network. Get ready for 2 fun-filled hours of racing dialogue, race results, commentary from drivers, promoters, sponsors, media dignitaries, and much, much more. And now, the racing devil, Mike Neff, and the ringmaster of motorsports, Wesley Outland. This is, and the winner is, Motorsports Show.
Hey, welcome everybody to a special And the Winner is Motorsports Show coming to you from Location 1 in Four Oaks, North Carolina. I am Wesley Outland, the host of And the Winner is Motorsports Show, reminding you to tune in to our program every Monday night, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock Eastern on the ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network. And we've got a special show lined up. It is the World 100 racing review show, sponsored by Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you to take the Shortway home. They're located in Wytheville, Virginia. And joining me, filling in for Rick Eshelman, I'm gonna try to give Rick Eshelman a call here in a little bit. But joining me now is host of In the Dirt every Monday night on blogtalkradio.com, and a good buddy of mine. He also does video work for dirtondirt.com, all late models all the time. Dirt on Dirt from Alabama, Mr. Webb Dillard. Webb, how's it going, buddy?
What's shaking? I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Definitely. I appreciate you filling in at the last minute with. And I will let everybody know, Rick Eshelman. He's basically in no man's land. I believe the World of Outlaw Late Models is going to be in Illinois, Iowa this weekend. I think it is. And for that reason, he drives the official transport hauler to all the events, and he's kind of in no man's land, signal cutting in and out and whatnot, so we do apologize for that. But nonetheless, we've got a great show lined up, man. How about the World 100 on Saturday night at the Big Eldora Speedway?
Those guys, you don't never know at that track who's going to come out on top. I think that was proved in the spring when Clanton virtually came out of nowhere in that Capital chassis and won the Dream. You know, Burkhofer, I mean, I didn't see that coming.
Absolutely. And, again, it was an exciting event, the 42nd running of the Granddaddy of Dirt Late Model Racing, the World 100. It's pretty much, you've got your big races, but bottom line, Webb Dillard, that's the biggest. I mean, if there's one race you want to win, it's the World 100. You want to get that Globe Trophy that stands almost 6 feet high. Put it in your mantle at your race shop and say, hey, I won the Granddaddy of Dirt Late Models.
I'd be happy just winning a T-shirt at the simulator. But you're right, it is one of the Granddaddy of them all. Anything in Eldora. I'd like to win a bike race there. They won't let me get in race cars.
You're definitely correct.
Race there.
And I'm telling you, of course, you can see on your video monitor some of the highlights of the the prestigious Granddaddy of Dirt Late Model Racing, the World 100, and all video credits go to the folks at Eldora Speedway. Man, they do an awesome job. That's one thing, Webb Dillard, that track does that that Roger Slack and Larry Bowes and Tony Stewart do at the Eldora Speedway is you can be able to see a video production like what you're watching on your monitor right now of the races, of what's going on, and then they can crop it, condense it, and make it into a great event. I was there back in June. I've been to Eldora before. I know you've been to Eldora before. Nothing like going to the Big E for, when you get a big crowd of almost 25, 30,000 fans confined around a half-mile track. That's electricity in the air. There's no other way to describe it. As they're coming for the full-wide salute, you see the fireworks, you see the pyro. You can feel that electricity in the air before that race gets ready to take the green flag at Eldora.
And this is only the beginning with the pay-per-views from Eldora. Dustin Jarrett, he's the voice at Eldora. He's informed me that they are looking at doing just about all their big stuff as a pay-per-view, the King's Royal, and then also the Dream. So this is the future of dirt late model entertainment right here. Dirt on Dirt started it with stuff out in Arizona and up at Cedar Lake. So I think you're looking at the future of our sport. If the TV coverage won't come to us, we'll make our own.
Absolutely. And the green flag coming for the start, that's Chad Simpson of the number 25 entry. Tyler Reddick, the California kid, up on the outside for the green flag and the start of the World 100. Has, it basically come to to the start, and the race was underway, and pretty much up in front, the California kid, Tyler Reddick, he kind of jumped out into an early lead. But I'm telling you, though, there was fierce racing all through the pack for that entire event.
Could you imagine being as young as he is, and look at the guys behind him? I mean, Chad Simpson, yeah, he's a name, but you got Bloomquist, Moyer, O'Neill, Burkhofer, Lanigan, all breathing down your neck.
Yep, Eddie Carrier Jr., Brian Burkhofer, Daryl Lanigan, some of the big top stars in dirt late model racing, you know, and the California kids holding them off. Now, you're about to see here on the video monitor in just a moment. And by the way, I got to give props to J.D. Webb, our executive producer, and, of course, our engineer for this program, Mr. John Westling. We call him Magic Fingers. Always does an outstanding job, you know, with the video and all of the special things that we're able to do. Bottom line, and Webb, we're going to talk about this because we got an hour. Disappointing. There were a lot of big-name drivers that didn't even make it into the World 100, much less make it from one of the heat circumstances or, you know, C features.
To me, the biggest disappointment, and without having the finishing order right in front of me, but Jimmy Owens, did he even make the show?
No.
He loaded up. So, I mean, you got the guy leading the Lucas points, not making one of the biggest crown jewels that there is. That's disappointing. And what about Don O'Neill breaking? He's one of the hottest guys in the country. And Lanigan, without a doubt, is a solar flare. He's so hot.
Coming down, it was around the lap 40 or 50 mark, and yes, broke the car and giving up the lead, thus giving it to Berkey, the Muscatine Madman out of Iowa, Brian Burkhofer in the 15 car, and he never, ever looked back and went on to sail to victory to win the 42nd World 100, which is his second win since 2002. A decade later, Webb Dillard, he comes back and wins it again.
Bookends a decade. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You got a globe on either side of the 10-year period. And I know this is your show, and I'm grateful to be on your show. We had Berkey on Monday, and I asked him, and maybe I'll get a chance to ask him again tonight, but what he thought about the first globe compared to the second globe. So I won't tell you what he said in case we're going to make sure we have him on tonight. We'll ask him that question again.
I was going to ask him that question too. So yeah, we're on the same page. Does the first World 100 mean as much as the one you got on Saturday?
Well,
and
the same guy was right behind him, so that's what intrigues me. And there were two different finishes, but the same guy was still behind him.
Right. So it's kind of like now. It's kind of like that elusive battle in the NFL, like between in the Super Bowl last year, as for the championship. Hell, this is so long ago, back in February, the Super Bowl. Who won that? Was it was
New York Giants.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe and Eli Manning, and it just seems like that Eli Manning, has just got it up on Drew Bledsoe as far as for the Super Bowl. Drew and Eli are both great quarterbacks. They have both great careers, but there's always going to be that elusive thought in Eli Manning's mind. I've got two up on Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe can't beat me.
I'm hoping you're talking about Tom Brady, because I think that's who you're speaking of with the
exactly
with the New England Patriots. I'm sorry.
Did Drew Bledsoe play for the Patriots?
He did. Brady replaced him.
I'm on the same.
I apologize for correcting you, but you're talking about Tom Brady, and you're right. But
here on the video monitor, you can see it where Don O'Neill's car breaks. He was out in front. He had the lead, and then he pitted it and gave the lead to Brian Burkhofer as he exited off turn number 4.
I don't know about you, but at that point, if I'm the 15 car, there's so many woohoos coming out of the cockpit, it's ridiculous. I mean, I would have a hard time composing myself leading another World 100. That stage of the game.
Absolutely. And you know what I love so much, and I think, and I'm going to talk to Brian Burkhofer about it. Maybe people don't realize it, but Brian Burkhofer, and they go 3 wide into turn 1, and I know there's a little bit of delay from what I'm saying to what you're seeing on the video. Chad Simpson up to the outside wall, 3 wide going into turn 3. Bloomquist got blocked going into the corner, and that was the Kentucky Colonel Steve Francis down to the inside of the 15 Valvoline car, trying to hold off Scott Bloomquist. You got a guy like Chad Simpson, Jimmy Mars now on the back door of Bloomquist there, as you're seeing on your video monitor. all of these top contenders are basically running down, and can I say this, Webb, the Dale Earnhardt of dirt track racing. When you might not know anything about NASCAR, you might not know anything about the Daytona 500 or whatever, but you knew the name Dale Earnhardt till he passed away. And people still to this day know the name Dale Earnhardt. In dirt track racing, everybody knows the name Scott Bloomquist.
Did you happen to catch what? And I haven't seen the video yet, but it's evidently been tweeted in the age of Twitter that they asked Tony Stewart today if there was any driver that he could be allowed to throw his helmet at again, who would it be? And he said Scott Bloomquist.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting that out of all the drivers that would piss Tony off in NASCAR, he chose the voodoo child.
Absolutely. We're going to try to contact Rick Eshelman because I really would love to have Rick be a part of this deal. He'll be able to hear me and Webb Dillard. As again, Webb Dillard is filling in for Rick Eshelman. Rick Eshelman is on the road somewhere in God's country on the way to Illinois for the next World of Outlaw Late Models event.
So this is Rick Eshelman from the World of Outlaws.
And he probably still doesn't have a phone signal. So and we've been dealing with that for the last half hour there, Webb.
Well, I mean, when you do stuff live, it's just this is part of it. And I work with Blog Talk Radio with my show, and there's times on my show where I just absolutely disappear, and I just hope that Brian Gray and Kyle May can, and they usually do a good job carrying on without me, but for whatever reason I disappear, and luckily it hasn't happened in a while, so you got to deal with this stuff sometimes.
Now you're seeing on your monitor the number 24 car, Ryan Unsucker. He hit the wall, Unsucker, lost it up in turn 3. He collected the wall, really damaged the front end, the elephant ears, the elephant noses on the front end of the number 24 car. And yes, there were two 24s in the field. Rick Eckert was in another one, but he had mechanical problems in the early going, and he parked it. They get ready to go for the restart again. Bloomer has got Chaz Simpson on his inside. So is Steve Francis, Lanigan. And I'm telling you what, watching the video, Jimmy Mars, if you remember back at the Dream Weekend, Webb Dillard, he went for a wild, wild ride at Eldora going into turn number 1 down the main straightaway. To come back and salvage a good finish was probably high hopes for him.
He put it on the lid. Anytime a driver does that, it shakes him up a little bit. So and having to come back that racetrack, I'm sure he's thinking, will this happen again? But he pulled out a pretty good finish this time.
Absolutely, and I want to let everybody know that the video that I'm watching is a little bit of a delay to what we're talking about, but basically, Kid Smooth, Billy Moyer Jr. going a lap down to the leader, Brian Burkhofer. Burkhofer's in his own world. Bottom line, Webb Dillard, when Don O'Neill, the real deal Don O'Neill, who's been on fire, he knows what it's like to win at Eldora. He knows what it's like to win the Dream, the World 100. When he broke, it opened it up for Brian Burkhofer. Now, do you think that if O'Neill would have broken or he wouldn't have broken, Burkhofer would have won the race?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's one of those deals where you just don't know. I mean, you can't figure that Burkhofer would have got around everybody else. You know, restarts would have had something to do with it. It would have been a lot more exciting. I think Don probably would have been there. I think he'd have been right there with Bloomquist and Burkhofer as far as whoever was in front. But you don't know. That's the beauty of what we do, what we cover. It's part of it, man. I mean, well, Ken Schrader says what if you ask him what happens when something breaks, he goes, I don't know. It probably costs 25 cents. So,
and then the question comes out again. Problems is the number 24 car. I believe that is actually Rick Eckert. Rick Eckert out of York, Pennsylvania. Scrub gets into the wall down to the inside of turn 3. His car cuts off on him right at the exit. Now, this is coming up for the last of the restarts. As again, as I said, my monitor is a little bit of delay than what you're seeing on the live feed. But basically, then the battle began between Berkey and Black Sunshine, or the Dirt Tracks Dominator, whatever nickname you want to give them. They went at it tooth and nail, and it was those two guys mano-a-mano for the end of the World 100.
Yeah, this is a different setting than it was last time for Berkey. Berkey was in the second place position going this far into the race and towards the finish, and really didn't lead all that much of the race 10 years ago. So when we talked to him, asked him about the differences in the speedway and the situation.
Absolutely. And coming up here in a moment, I want you to watch your monitor. Brad Neat, the Dunville Warrior out of Dunville, Kentucky, the Red Buck Cigars, number 41 entry for Bobby Labonte Racing. This man came out of nowhere, Webb Dillard, picking off cars one by one, passing the Rocket House car, Brandon Shepard. In the caution falls, they go for the restart, and then this was when really Brad Neat started to turn up the heat.
He did. He drove from 23rd to what, a fourth or fifth.
Exactly. And the caution's going to come out again as Chris Madden had contact with another car and looped it around in turn 1 and 2, which forced the yellow flag to come back out. But ultimately, though, Webb Dillard, bottom line, it was Burkhofer's race to lose. Bloomer did everything he could on the restarts. As you see again, they're coming down to the green flag. Berkey, ride or die on the outside. He loved the top. He stayed to the top, and Bloomer could not get by him.
I hadn't heard anything. What was Bloomquist's post race like? I have not heard his. I was so thrilled that Berkey won. I'd never listened to what Bloomquist had to say about his finish.
Well, basically, Bloomer said that the track looked good and you know, it was in good condition of what it's been after all the rain that they sustained the day before and the morning before the race of the World 100. But basically, that, you know, he tried everything he could. He did all he could to catch the Muscatine Madman, but that number 15 Kaiser Manufacturing J&J Steel Carts number 15 car was just basically on a rail. And when it's your night, Webb Dillard, it's your night. I mean, that's the best way to say it. I mean, when you have everything going your way, as he comes out of turn number 4 to the checkered flag and wins the World 100, the pyro's going off that always Roger Slack and company can put on at Eldora. You know, Webb, we saw what kind of stuff Roger Slack did at Charlotte under Humpy Wheeler, who was by far the best promoter in all of racing ever. You know, we actually had him in January at the car show, and I had a special interview with him. You were there for that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, then the most important thing after the race, and I love how they hype this up, Webb Dillard, is the scale area. For the World 100, for the Dream 100, you as the fans can see the scales, and he's wanting that green light. You don't want the red light. You want the green light. He gets it, and he wins his second career World 100.
All I can say is booyah at this point.
And I love how he gets out of the car and he cleans off the top of the hood. He kisses the top of the hood of the car, as he always does in tradition. The Muscatine Madman, we're going to have him on the show here in just a little bit. And, of course, that is your look at the 42nd annual, the highlights of the World 100. And, again, that's presented by Eldora Speedway. They want to remind you their next event is the Four Crown Nationals coming up on September the 21st and 22nd. At the Eldora Speedway, the Four Crown Nationals. Rundown of the event. I know the top 10 will be showing on the monitor, but we can definitely give the full field rundown. Brian Burkhofer was your winner. Scott Bloomquist was second. Brad Neat was third. And again, all top 3 guys are going to be on the show here tonight. Darrell Lanigan was fourth. The High Side Hustler, Jason Fager, finished fifth. The Kentucky Colonel, Steve Francis, was sixth. Brandon Shepard, driving the old car that Josh Richards used to pilot, was seventh. Eddie Carrier Jr., the one-man band, was eighth. Ninth was Shannon Babb, and 10th was Michael Chilton. 11th was the Squirrel, Brian Shirley. J.R. Hodavoy was in 12th. 13th went to Jerry Bowersock, 14th to Smokey Chris Madden, and 15th to Jimmy Mars. We mentioned Webb, Jimmy Mars, and being in the front in the early going and then falling back to 15th. But again, a good way to redeem himself after riding the wall at the Dream in June. Andrew Renew in 16th. Chad Simpson was 17th. He was the pole car. Greg Johnson, 18th. Billy Moyer Jr., Mr. Kid Smooth, was 19th. Wayne Chin was 20th. Ryan Unzicker was 21st. Billy Moyer, Mr. Smooth with a bad night, broke in the early going. He finished 22nd. The Mac Daddy, former winner of the World 100, Del McDowell, was 23rd. The California Kid, Tyler Reddick, was 24th. The Black Widow, Spider-Man, Jeep Van Warmer, was 25th. Rick Eckert, 26th. 27th of the Real Deal, Don O'Neill. Dan Schleeper was in 28th. Bub McCool, Bubba J, was 29th, and the winner of the Dream 100 back in June, the Coconut, Shane Clanton, was your full-field rundown of the 30 drivers of the that came in as equal, and in the end, Brian Burkhofer reigned immortal in the 42nd World 100. Webb, your thoughts before we go to commercial break?
I've got to talk to Brian several times with my dirt on dirt stuff and post race situations. One of the best guys. Very happy that, as a fan, that a guy like Brian wins a big race like that.
Absolutely. We're going to take commercial break number 1. As always, big thanks to Jason and Judy Short from Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, located in Wytheville, Virginia, reminding you to take the short way home. We will take a break. When we come back, third place man Brad Need on the show in the Red Cigars Buck number 40. I messed that up. The Red Buck Cigars number 41 car for Bobby Labonte Racing. He will be our first guest, third at the Big E at the World 100. This is the World 100 Special Racing Review Show here on ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network.
The fever. Intense. NASCAR racing experience. The authentic racing experience. Packages start at just $329. Thrilling. Yeah! The rush. The NASCAR racing experience. Call 1-877-RACE-LAP today.
ETV Live, always pushing the bar just a little bit further, is proud to introduce ETV Live Radio, supported by the HD Radio Network. ETV Live Radio features classic rock every hour, every day. You can also catch live events such as Race Day broadcast right from the booth. Open Paddock Live at 9:30 p.m. Tuesday nights. The Pit Report on Friday nights at 7 p.m. ETV Live Radio featured in the sports section of iTunes. Get the mobile app from TuneIn.com and look for us on Windows Media Guide. ETV Live Radio on the HD Radio Network.
The booth with James Essex for the World 100.
Okay.
That's
okay.
That. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to a special And the Winner Is Motorsports show live here tonight on the ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network. And again, I'm Wesley Outland, your host of the show, reminding you to tune in every Monday night from 6 to 8 o'clock Eastern to And the Winner Is Motorsports show. And, of course, Webb Dillard, throw out your show, buddy.
Well, you guys can, if you're in the Eastern time zone, you can pick us up at 6 Central, which would be 7 Eastern. In the Dirt, Blog Talk Radio /In the Dirt, blogtalkradio.com/In the Dirt. And we have fun. Brian Gray, driver out of Hamilton, Ohio. Kyle May, driver here locally in Northeast Alabama. And we just bring on different walks of life from dirt. We're not trying to be anybody but ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're actually about to talk now to the third place finisher at the World 100 on Saturday night at the Big E, the Eldora Speedway, the number 41 Red Buck Cigars. Entry for Bobby Labonte Racing, Mr. Brad Neat. And Brad Neat will be on the program here. Brad, it's Wesley Outland, and the winner is World 100 Special. How are you, friend?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Absolutely. Webb, on the program is Brad Neat, third place in the World 100. You started the race 23rd. Brad, man, what a way to come through the field.
It was a tough day Saturday, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Man, just talk about the mindset of what it takes going in there preparing for this event, the World 100, which is, it's deemed the granddaddy of dirt late model racing. Why does it mean so much to all you dirt late model racers around the country?
Excuse me now, I'm sorry I missed that. I may be in a bad spot here.
No, basically what I was asking was, you know, why is to many dirt late model drivers the World 100 can, you know, it's nicknamed the granddaddy of dirt late model racing, but why is it so prestigious to so many drivers around the country?
It is because, you know, that race just has so much history behind it. Everybody wants to, that is the Daytona 500 of our sport. It may not be the biggest paying race, but everybody wants that trophy with the globe on it.
Absolutely. And the driver of the Longhorn chassis is on the program. And by the way, Webb Dillard, speaking of Longhorn chassis, they're a big part of what I announced, the Fast Track Racing Series. And it's actually Earl Pearson Jr., putting together a chassis company, Longhorn Race Chassis. Longhorn Chassis is what it is, and y'all have had some success in the Longhorn Chassis this year, Brad Neat.
We have, and you know, I have one of each now. I actually have a Masters build as well. But yeah, they have come a long way. Those guys have worked extremely hard, and they're putting their best foot forward. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And Webb Dillard, you got anything for Brad Neat?
Yeah, hey Brad, this is Webb Dillard. Hey, at what point during the race, when you guys are passing cars, did you ever think to yourself, man, I can get to the very front?
You know, at about lap 40, there was a caution somewhere in that neighborhood, and we had moved up quite a few spots there, and I knew we had a good race car all day long. I knew we could pass some cars and at least get close to the front, but I didn't know how far we were going to get. That's for sure.
And the Longhorn Chassis, I know it's also sort of a Labonte creation. Justin has a lot of influence on that. Of course, Earl, and then Big Bob. How are things evolving as far as, I mean, getting through this kind of a valley that it's been in? Your run, obviously, certainly is good for the chassis, but how painstaking has the process been?
And Earl Pearson could vouch for this. He's had a rough past couple of years, but at the same time, I mean, anytime that you build a new chassis, develop a new chassis, you're going to have that time, and whenever they finally come out of it and they finally get it figured out, I think you're going to see a different ball game. I think that you'll see that being one of the best in the business. And you know, like I said, whenever they finally get it figured out, you're going to see Earl start winning races. You're going to see them start selling a lot more chassis. There's just so much to it. If people only knew the amount of time and effort that was put into these things, and just use Scott Bloomquist for example. I mean, it took him a long time to come up with and to get his chassis perfected, but now you see him winning every week. You see him winning all these big races. Billy Moyer's the same way. They have the Victory Circle chassis. Billy struggled for a long time. They spent a lot of time under these race cars themselves, and now today you see them out here winning races each and every week, and that'll be the same thing for the Longhorn.
Wesley, I've been to I've actually gone through with Justin and them there in Trinity at the shop, and let me tell you, they're in it to win it. That their operation is top notch, and it is really just a matter of time, as Brad was saying.
Yeah, you're definitely correct on that. Again, we're talking to Brad Neat out of Dunnville, Kentucky, the Dunnville Warrior, and the number 41 Red Buck Cigars entry, the Masterbuilt Warrior chassis. And I'll tell you what, that last restart, it looked like you were all up under the crosshairs of Scott Bloomquist, and Bloomer's trying to run down Berkey for the victory. But do you feel like maybe if it might have been 110 laps, or maybe if you had another caution flag, you might have been able to possibly run down Burkhofer and Bloomer for either first or second? Because I'm telling you, man, that car was strong. It was on a rail, and it was coming.
Well, it's like I always tell everybody, you'll never hear me say if we had more laps, because we didn't. It would have been, if it would have just been 90 laps, we'd end up 7th. So, but at the same time, you know, I think we could have at least maybe raced with Scott a little bit there. But to be quite honest with you, the car that should have won did. He was extremely fast, and you know, I congratulate those guys, both of them, Scott and Brian, both. They did a heck of a job. But I noticed there we had a caution maybe with 7 or so to go, and Burkhofer still put probably 10 cars on us within that last 7 laps, and I knew right then that that he was definitely going to win the race. He was just that good.
Right. Definitely, definitely. Again, Webb Dillard is hosting the show with me. It is And the Winner Is Motorsports Show, a special World 100 Racing Review show presented by Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you take the short way home. They're located out of Whitfield, Virginia, and I know that Jason and Judy Short, they just texted me. They're actually not listening on the broadcast page. They're actually tuned in on ETV Live Radio on the HD Radio Network. As well as on all the other affiliates. And I did give them the link and let everybody know that this will be archived for people to go back and listen to it again. And definitely an awesome event for Brad Neat. Brad, I know that it wasn't the win, but is that probably one of the best finishes you could say you've had in your racing career?
Absolutely. And you know, to be able to do what our team done that day, my team, my crew guys were pushed extremely hard. We had a lot of races to go through there, and they never laid down, and it just showed that that they were there and they had that want to as well. And but to be able to compete with those guys at that level, it's truly a blessing.
Absolutely. Webb Dillard?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can pass that many cars. I mean, in our sport, sometimes passing is at a premium. Is that not correct, Brad?
It is. It is.
So when you can pass, half the field, I mean, that's a win in my book.
Yeah, and we look at it as that as well. I mean, to be able to pass that many cars and to come through the field like that, it gives you some kind of baseline to work off of for the future events. I mean, all in all, it was a great day.
Absolutely. Again, Brad Neat on the program. And by the way, my executive producer wants me to ask you a question, and the question is, do you guys throw helmets in dirt racing like they do in NASCAR? And I don't think I need to answer that question because a couple of weeks ago we had Mr. O Show, Jimmy Owens, on, and he said basically sometimes you just need a good old-fashioned ass whipping. What's your thoughts of that? Because you've ran with Jimmy Owens before. What's your thoughts of that?
Well, to be honest with you, the helmet throwing is, I mean, every racer out there, there's just it's a different level of competition. Everybody is so passionate about what they do. And, sometimes things get heated or whatever, and you want to I try to refrain from doing anything like that, but I give my fair share of talking tos and all that, but it's so easy to get wrapped up in the moment. And you have now in our sport we have one-way communication with a series official most of the time, and they'll get you calmed down usually before you have a chance to go off on somebody. So that's a good thing.
Last I checked, helmets cost a whole lot of money too, don't they?
They do. They're expensive. You're throwing expensive equipment whenever you do that.
And that's like, for instance, and of course I don't want to get off subject because this is dirt track racing, not NASCAR. But for instance, when Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart had their little debacle at Bristol a couple of weeks ago, and Tony threw his helmet at Matt Kenseth. NASCAR confiscated Tony's helmet. They said in the media, we're taking your helmet. He said, I don't give a damn. You can take it. I don't care. They took the helmet and they're selling it on eBay towards I guess the NASCAR Foundation or something. There's a press release there. It's true. You can check it out. That basically the helmet that was thrown by Tony Stewart at Bristol, you can now purchase and make bids on it, and you can be able to get it.
Look, NASCAR is going to need something to save them. I mean, their ratings were already down. Then football comes along, so the ratings are going to even be worse. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that helmet throwing wasn't staged. I used to follow NASCAR, and then I've worked in dirt now the last 4 or 5 years.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you think that the helmet thing was staged between?
Listen. listen.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, if your ratings are down and you're used to it, I mean, it's like tension is like crack, and once your tension goes away, you start to have withdrawals. I don't have any proof. I'm just saying. And now all of a sudden it's up for sale. That's why dirt's better. I'm not saying that dirt's just more entertaining. The drivers are they're not tethered by corporate mumbo jumbo. I mean, dirt's just better. There, I said. I'm not going to get on a soapbox.
Brad, would you like to move up to NASCAR one day, or are you happy right where you're at right now in the dirt world?
I'm happy. You know, as a young child, that would have been my dream. But you know, I'm 32 and I'm too old, I guess, for that. Because you see so many young kids today. I'll just give you an example. Tyler Reddick. He's 16. The kid is a good race car driver, a great race car driver.
Right.
You'll see him in NASCAR. I honestly feel that way. But for me, you know, where I'm twice his age, I guess those days are just over with for me.
Now, can I make a suggestion, though? Because at one point, you know, we had thought that Kid Rocket Josh Richards, two-time World of Outlaw Late Model Series champion, was going to move up into the NASCAR world and the ARCA world and whatnot, and then backed out. Things fell under. Things didn't happen the way they wanted to. So basically, you know, this trend of wanting to make it to the big time, sometimes if you're not ready for it, Web Dealer, it's going to come back and bite you.
Well, Richards is doing some. He's still doing some stuff.
He's doing some ARCA stuff, but he had some other things lined up through NASCAR, and they fell under.
Well, no, he was just at Bristol. I mean, he's racing in the Busch Series. He's driving for somebody. I don't know exactly who it is, but he came back and raced that one World of Outlaw race where he came back and he won. And I hate to ask during a Neats interview, but I have to wonder if Kid Rocket doesn't go to NASCAR this year, do we see the record-setting pace of wins that Lanigan's got? I don't think we do, but that's a different that's be a different time, different story.
Right. Absolutely. And I'll tell you something else too, Brad. With Raceway, you went to Victory Lane at the events in Royal Retreat, Virginia. I was at that race. Is that your favorite track? Fred Brown's with Raceway, the half mile?
Actually, I've...
No, my bad. My apologies. You ran there before. You see, Webb, you go to so many races. You go to so many tracks.
I understand.
Sometimes you get warped. My apologies. It was another red and black car. It was John Blankenship, the Cole, number 23 car. He was the one who won. But you guys are good friends. And Brad, I remember... you know, you ran an Ultimate event. You ran last year at Volunteer. You run the Ultimate Tour when you can. I mean, I know this weekend you're taking off. Has the economy set in so bad for the 41 team that you kind of have to pick and choose where you got to race at?
No, I mean, we just decided this year to actually move our program back a step. My wife and I just had a child last year, and to be honest with you, we were gone for 3 to 4 days every week, and I actually have a job, so it was just taken away from my job, my family time, and to be honest with you, I feel like that our team is more prepared to go to a racetrack now than we were even last year.
Absolutely.
You know, as far as the economy isn't great. But I mean, to be honest with you, the economy isn't great. My decision was to pull back for other reasons.
Right. Absolutely. Well, man, definitely. Why don't you go ahead and throw out your sponsors and thank everybody that helped you get third place at the World 100. I know that's I know it's not the Globe, it's not the win, but definitely a great job you did.
Yeah, I can't thank Red Buck Cigars, and they've been a great sponsor for the last 4 years. You Cornette Racing Engines, Sunoco Race Fuels, Masters Built Race Cars, Hypercoal, Hoosier Tires. I mean, the list goes on and on. We have a great group of sponsors that have been really good to us.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, Webb, you got anything else for Brad Neat, the Dunnville Warrior out of Kentucky?
Brad, hopefully the situation gets better for you. I'd like to see you back on some of the tour races. Do you have any big shows you're going to hit, maybe down south to end the season?
Actually, we are next week. We'll be in Brownstown, Indiana for the Jackson 100, which is a Lucas Oil race.
Yep.
And then I know we'll probably be at Charlotte 1st of November, and we have a handful of different races that we're going to race between now and then. I don't actually have my schedule in front of me now, but we'll sure be around. We probably got 6 or 8 more races.
I'd like to invite you to some 2 of the best non-sanctioned events in Mississippi is the Cotton Picking and the Fall Classic. The one's at the Magnolia Motor Speedway, and the other is at Why Not. Probably a little bit far for you, but if you ever get a chance, come down and race in those 2 races in the fall.
We've raced at Magnolia quite a bit.
Oh, at the Lucas. That's right. I'm sorry. The Lucas. Yeah, that's right.
I enjoy that racetrack. I don't know that either one of those are out of the question. We'll just see what's going on that weekend, or those 2 weekends for sure. But it's definitely a possibility.
Definitely.
Both those speedways put on great shows. No matter if it's just the local guys, Super Late models, if it's the Crate Late models. When you guys come to town, I look forward to seeing you guys every time you come.
Okay, well, we sure appreciate it.
Absolutely. Brad Neat, thank you so much, man. Third place in the 42nd running of the World 100 out of Dunnville, Kentucky, the Dunnville Warrior. And go ahead and throw up on our screen monitors our second-place finisher, Mr. Scott Bloomquist. Just received a text from him. Him and his wife are out to dinner. Obviously, the show did go a little bit behind on coming on the air due to some technical difficulties, so we do apologize about that. But, hey, Webb, Bloomer, what else can we say about Black Sunshine? I mean, the guy's friggin' awesome.
Okay. I have a good story I could tell from Cedar Lake, if you allow me.
Somebody, the one where he says, I hope everybody enjoyed that ass whipping?
No, this involves me personally.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I was fortunate enough to be on the...
hold that thought, Webb. Hang on a minute. We need to take a break.
Okay.
We need to take a break. Keep it up with you, and keep those thoughts in your head. Don't get Alzheimer's within 3 minutes. and we'll have you tell us that story. Scott Bloomquist, we're going to talk about him, and then we'll have Brian Berkey Burkhofer, the Muscatine Madman out of Iowa, the winner of the 42nd Annual World 100. You're tuned in to the And the Winner Is Motorsports Show special race review of the 42nd World 100 presented by Shortway Real Estate Incorporated. And we'll thank those sponsors, and we'll be right back on the air right after this.
Featured every Friday night at 7 p.m. live on ETV Live Radio. Join Dakota Ehrman and J.D. Webb for weekly race recaps, driver interviews, and updates. Unabridged, uncensored, and no knotheads, cowboy. The Pit Report, live on ETV Live Radio, 7 p.m. every Friday night.
Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, conveniently located off of intersection I-81 and I-77 in Wytheville, Virginia. Services all of Southwest Virginia in residential, farms, recreational, and commercial properties. The company is owned by Jason and Judy Short. Judy has been in the real estate market for over 15 years and is the broker of Shortway Real Estate. And they have 2 of the top agents in Southwest Virginia. Their goal is simple: to provide the best customer service and build business on repeat clients. You can get pre-approvals in less than 20 minutes. They have many properties located on over 300 websites nationwide. You can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for customer service guaranteed. And guess what? Licensed in Virginia, they can show you any property listed in the Commonwealth state. They're located at 1205 East Main Street in Wytheville, Virginia. For more details, call 276-223-4018. That's 276-223-4018. Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you, take the short way home. Hey, welcome back to a special edition of And the Winner Is Motorsports Show presented by Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you to take the Shortway home. They're located out of Wytheville, Virginia. They are listed to be able to do real estate marketing for commercial, farm, housing, you name it. They can do it residential in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They can do the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. And by the way, I know they're tuning in because he just texted me. Congratulations to Jason, Judy's husband. He has finally got his realtor's license, so now there will be 3 marketers in the real estate business. And again, that's Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you to take the short way home. Proud sponsor of our show here tonight. I'm Wesley Outland, the ringmaster of motorsport. In the executive producer suite, munching on chicken wings and barbecue with ranch. And joining me, host of In the Dirt every Monday night on Blog Talk Radio, is Webb Dillard. And Webb, pretty damn good friend, man. I've known him, about 3 years in the racing biz, I believe it is?
Getting to be that.
Definitely. We've done some TV work together. We've done some the Fast Track video update. We've done all sorts of great things together, and it's good to have Webb filling in for Rick Eshelman. I'm disappointed. Rick Eshelman, he did tell me earlier this afternoon, hey, I'm going to be on the way in the middle of God's country, and I hope we, can have a good signal. And sure enough, John Wessling friggin' jinxed us, because as soon as I say, oh, yeah, everything's perfect, we got a great signal, we'll be fine, he's like, oh, where's he going to be at? In God's country. And then, bam, phone signals cut out, and we have tech issues. But definitely we apologize for that. But, hey, this show, don't blame me. All right, I'm not going to repeat what just put on. Let's talk about Scott Bloomquist. Okay, back to the second place story. Webb Dillard, go ahead and talk about Bloomquist.
Well, first of all, I mean, you expect Scott to be up front at the World, at the Dream. If he shows up at a racetrack, you very rarely look to the rear to find him. He had a good run there. Second time he's finished second to Burkhofer. I don't think he could be upset. I mean, his car was on the pole, or not on the pole, outside pole with Reddick. So I don't see what he can be disappointed about.
Absolutely. Second spot. I mean, what does second place play? I mean, I know it's 45,000.
I think it was 10 grand. 10 grand was second, I'm pretty sure.
Wow, a $30,000 drop.
But let me tell you about what happened out at Cedar Lake up in Wisconsin.
At the U.S. Nationals or the USA Nationals?
So USA Nationals, I'm one of the camera guys for Dirt on Dirt, and Michael Rigsby puts me up in a boom lift. And if anybody's listening, you can go to Webb Dillard on Facebook. You'll see this picture. But anyway, I'm in this giant boom lift up above turn number 1, and it's an awesome shot. Because I'm a videographer, so the shot is everything. I'm a little nervous at first because this thing moves with every butterfly fart there is. So it's a little uncanny the first night, and I get used to it. So okay, it's going to move a little bit. Well, I can't remember if it was the second night. I think it was the last night. The NASCAR late models were out there, dirt late models sponsored by NASCAR, which is oxymoron in itself. But anyway, that's what they're sponsored by. We're out on track. All of a sudden, the boom shakes, like tremendously shakes. And at first, I just kind of shook it off and didn't think about it. But then it shakes again. And I look down, and there's Scott Bloomquist giving me the thumbs up and giggling at me like it's some funny stuff. I started to hawk a loogie on him.
And look, I'm going to tell you what, Scott's got that personality because, you have to take Scott in a different light. He is very, sometimes, you can look at him and he'll talk to you. He will associate with you. He'll be your best friend. But then there are other times when he's in the zone that you don't mess with him. You just don't bother him. He is one of the only guys that I know that if he's really happy about something with the car and the race going well, Webb Dillard, he will associate with the crowd. But if there's something bothering him and something irking his brain about why is this car acting this way or why am I 2/10 off the second of the pole, he'll go in that hauler and he won't come out until he consults with his team.
And I've only had one instance where he wasn't cordial. Of course, being the media, most of these guys don't shun the media. Sometimes they do. And only one time, and it was just a bad run probably. But one of the cool things that happened, well, not cool, it's just another funny story. So I go back to the pits to interview him. He'd won the race. I can't remember if it was either Waycross, Georgia. It was either Waycross Speedway for the Battle of the Swamp.
Or Golden Isles.
No, it was at Clay Hill during a Southern All-Star race that he had showed up to. I can't remember which one it was, but so we get back there and there's kids around getting autographs, and I just looked at him and said, "Hey, take care of the fans real quick, and I'll wait." Well, the little kid's like, "Hey, sign my shirt, mister." And so he signs the first shirt. Another kid says, "Yeah, sign my shirt too, sir." He said, "Hey, my daddy told me to get the winners. You know who that is?" And I just started dying laughing. Scott looks at me like, he glares at me. It was in humor, but he glares at me. I'm like, "Hey, I ain't got the camera rolling." So that was pretty good.
Absolutely. So, again, Scott Bloomquist, got to give him an honorable mention, runner-up in the World 100 this year. But what do you say we take a quick break and we get on the champion, the man of the hour, the winner of the 42nd Annual World 100, Mr. Brian Berkey Burkhofer, the Muscatine Madman out of Iowa?
One of my favorites, easily.
Oh, I mean, it's just simply around an awesome show, but, you know, an awesome gentleman, because all around he's a great guy, and most of all, I mean, actually, we're just going to go ahead and call him up right now, is what I've been told by the producers. Just go ahead and we'll call him up and get him on the program. But I mean, he's all around a great guy. 40 years old, from Iowa. He's got a wife, kids. Builds his own race cars.
MB Customs. Yes.
And, you know, he's not one of those guys that are in the limelight constantly, but when he shows up, when he dominates and he wins, or he's got a car like he had at Eldora over the weekend, he doesn't let it back down.
He's done some of his best work in the fall here in the last couple of years.
Absolutely. We're going to get him on the program here in just a moment. Brian Burkhofer. Brian Burkhofer out of Muscatine, Iowa, the Muscatine Madman, the winner of the World 100. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Dude, is it settled in that you're the winner of the biggest dirt super late model race in all of the country for 2012?
Well, if it hasn't, it's working itself in there, because I've had a few phone calls and whatnot, and I'm actually hustling into my house to plug my phone in because it's almost dying.
Oh, no, don't die on this, please. I know you told us on your, you know what, as a matter of fact, you did send me a text about another number to call.
Yeah, well, I actually made it home by now. I'll get her plugged in, man. I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. Talk about, of course, also joining me is Webb Dillard. I think you done an interview with him on Monday night on In the Dirt.
Hey, Brian. Nice to talk to you again, brother.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
And I'm assuming, Brian Burkhofer, that you have been swamped with the media after winning this event, the Granddaddy of Dirt Late Model Racing, on Saturday night at Eldora.
For me, I don't know, man. It's kind of like back to business as usual, though, because I got to go home and me and Zach got to do our usual Monday routine. My wife and kids, and just the things you got to do in life in general. It's still the same thing. We just did a lot bigger stuff on Saturday night than we've done for a long time. But it was a good paycheck.
Absolutely. I got a question for you. You started about mid-pack for the race. I want to say it was in. I want to say what you started.
Actually, we started 8th. It wasn't too far back, but I mean there were some tough customers starting up in them first 3 rows.
Absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely. Outside row number 4. But just tell everybody on the program about the Alpha-Built Soup, how hard it is to process, because you got to go through qualifying, Qualifying got completely washed out Friday, so everything that would be in a 2-day show got rushed into 1 day on Saturday. Saturday morning, you guys are normally in your haulers, in bed, or relaxing around a campfire talking about race strategy. You're on the racetrack qualifying at 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning to prepare for the events of Saturday night. Just talk about what it's like to basically go through the alphabet soup to make it into the A-Main, just to make the 100-lap feature.
Well, just kind of as an overview, basically, you know, when they actually called it, it started raining like heck about half an hour after. I mean, it rained all night. You know, it's 7-something. The only thing it's good is I'm from the central time zone there in the eastern, and it gives us that hour, that extra hour to sleep or whatever. But I actually woke up and actually I rode the four-wheeler down, or I walked down and kind of looked at the track, and it was like 7:50 in the morning, and they said they were going to clear the pits at 9. So for me, it just kind of kills the day that, you know, my kids, we can throw the football and do some stuff, and my wife and I can hang out, just kind of talk and just kind of have some family time. So it kind of killed all that, but at least we got it all in, and, you know, we got to come home on Sunday. But it makes for a long day, and I thought it was really cool because of the one lap. The only thing is I'd much rather just draw and have 2 laps qualifying, you know.
Right.
That way you get 2 laps. You messed up 1 lap, you get a second lap. Because I think that's what the problem is. Like, some of them guys looked at it like they were going to get 1 lap, and they had to hustle hard, and that's why you've seen some guys, some big stars crashing.
Yes.
Because they were, like, trying to bust that lap, and they just got into 3 too hot. But if they knew they had 1 lap to see how it was, second lap, they'd have gave her a little bit more. You were seeing a little bit different qualifying, you know, deal. But as far as I'm concerned, it made some, you know, guys like me, I watched a couple guys get into the fence, and it kind of dictated how I was going to drive into one. Because, you know, you sit on that concrete pad, and you're kind of watching guys go. And that, to me, is really the biggest gut check of the year, is qualifying before Eldora. So as you're watching it, you just got to say, man, 1 decent, mediocre lap is better than hitting the fence and getting no laps. So
absolutely.
That's kind of how I approached it.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Webb.
Hey, Brian, take away for a second the names attached to the numbers. And, I mean, your name's just as big as the rest of them. But just as a guy driving in a race, when you see those guys that you're going around and who are having trouble, at what point did you say to yourself, you know what, we got something here?
Honestly, man, I was just driving as hard as hard as I could, as smooth as I can be. I really don't take, at one point, probably 7, 8, 10 years ago, I mean, when I first won it, I mean, everything was an knowledge of me. Anymore, it's just a matter of, it's a way for me to make a paycheck, and I'm trying to do my best. But I don't want to go out and just crash things to make a name, or I'm not looking for something that isn't there, I guess. And
right.
You know, I'm
job.
I'm going to do my best, but if I can do my best, I'm going to get a consistent something to make a living at doing if I'm smart about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. On the restart, that last initial restart, and I guess numerous restarts before then, because James Essex and Rick Eshelman in the video, and by the way, you can go to EldoraSpeedway.com and you can see it, but they basically they announced in the event, bottom line, there has got to be a caution flag for Bloomer, for Brad Neat, for Jimmy Mars, for any of these guys, Eddie Carrier Jr., to run down and catch Brian Burkhofer. Then the caution failed when the 24-car Bunsinger has his problems in turn number 3. 3 times before the 100 laps were on the board, Bloomer's on your inside for the restart. This guy's got a great career in dirt late model racing, or in any motorsports for that matter. What's going through your head? I mean, do you have the mindset, oh, man, I got Scott Bloomquist to my inside. I don't need to muck up. I don't need to make a mistake. Or do you just go out there and race your own race in your head?
I think I've raced long enough now that it's funny you said that. I mean, when the caution came out and I was rolling down the backstretch, the yellow lights are going on. I'm like, oh man, I didn't know what kind of lead. I knew I had a little bit of lead.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of a lead. I'm like, well, the way they do it now, I mean, they line you up just like NASCAR. You know, you pick inside or outside. Second place is lined up next to you, so it definitely has to be better for the fans. I mean, because you know, for us racers, you know, we're trying to get the lead, and then we can protect that a little bit on the start, but that there puts them right inside of you or outside of you, you know, whatever the dominant line is. But I mean, I really honestly just like, all right, man, you know, worst case scenario, you're gonna run hopefully top 5, but I think we got a good car. Let's just start. Let's hustle it into 1. Let's make sure we beat him off 2. He'll give him a clean lane into 3 to slide you. Let's get through the first lap, and if he's got a good car, he's going to get by you. And I mean, honestly, that's what I thought. I didn't, you know, and I respect Scott. I respect him for a long time. He's helped me. He's helped me talk. You know, we've talked back in the past, and it's just one of the things where I felt confident about a lot of it, but I wasn't overconfident by any means. I just felt like we, you know, whatever happens. I felt like Don O'Neill probably had the best car, and he broke.
Absolutely.
We were just fortunate to, you know, get the lead. I'd love to have been able to race Don for the win, because I think we could have ran with him. But, you know, he broke, and we were able to finish the race and win. So I hate to say it. This is one of the worst things I ever say, but it is what it is.
Well, real quick, you said Monday night, you talked about the differences in the speedway and the surface itself from the first World 100 win you had to this one. Talk about that for a second.
Back then, it was I don't know what the last few laps. I don't know what the lap times are. I think we got to be low 18s or something like that. But back then, I think it'd get to the mid 19s, which was pretty slow. Well, now you can just change your line and you can actually race, and you just let your car slip, and there's already some banking to kind of catch you later in the corner. You know, you can manipulate your line. The place is just faster. So if everybody's faster, the only way you pass is to be like overly aggressive or find ways to slide the next guy. You got to find different ways with aggression to pass. And maybe, I mean, not necessarily, I'm not trying to tell everybody that you got to, you know, slide people, but it's just harder to pass there if you don't start up front. And, you know, it's just, it is what it is. It's a hard racetrack. It's a tough racetrack. I mean, I think really if they're going to pick between there and Knoxville, Iowa, I don't know where the other marquee events, you know, maybe you throw in Cedar Lake or something like that, but it's definitely one of a kind.
And I know a lot of people said that the track was in perfect shape for Eldora. I mean, there's been times, and I know we just mentioned Scott Bloomquist, and I'll never forget it, Webb Dillard, back in 2010. And Burkhofer, you were there too. You were driving the black and blue number 15 car when you were there for that event. But do you remember back the 2010 dirt late model Dream, and it rained, and they ended up having to run the race on a Sunday afternoon, and the track was all rutted up, and Bloomer finished second. Scott Bloomquist was second to the winner, Billy Moyer. And I remember Scott just totally raising Cain. The track was horrible. It was all rutted up. Why did they run in the daytime? Why couldn't they have ran at night? But I think you got to give big kudos to the entire staff at Eldora Speedway that do the track prep, because the track was in great shape. Just by the video, you can tell that the track was in great conditions.
Well, to start, I don't think, I mean, Chad, which is Earl's grandson, I think he's the guy in charge. I don't know the track prep, but them guys work their tail off. And, you know, I'm sure there's way more people involved that I know of, you know, and I don't know any of them guys, so to speak, but they do what they're told for the most part, or what they can do the best. And Roger Slack is a great guy. He's an entertainment guy. He tries to entertain the fans, and he's very good at what he does.
Yep.
But, I mean, I think that they try to put the best show on, the pyro, the fireworks, the track prep, to deal with the rain. Larry Bose, Larry Kemp, the whole bunch of them guys do. I think they did a great job to entertain that amount of fans. And I hope when there was 9 laps to go and they had a caution and Bloomquist and Burkhofer lined up in the front row that they got their money's worth maybe at the end.
Absolutely.
I thought it was I thought it was a great show, and I don't really know. I mean, I can't say much more. I mean, Scott's gonna, Scott's one of him and Billy Moyer are probably the two best in the business. So between the two of them, they're gonna bitch about certain things anyway. So
I know.
I don't know how to
Right.
sugarcoat it more than that. I mean, them guys have won so much, they're gonna find ways to, and I have a ton of respect for both of them, but I'm just one of them guys trying to get we're just trying to get a good paycheck too, and I think we try just as hard at home as they do, and I ain't making no excuses. If I ain't good enough that night, I just wasn't good enough. Now, if something broke, I don't think I'm going to get out and bitch about that either, but I enjoyed winning the race. And, all I can say is Don O'Neill probably maybe had the best car, and he didn't have an opportunity to finish the race. And, Scott, I mean, actually, Scott's probably more my hero than anybody else. I mean, my car's black basically from him years ago, a long time ago. So I still look up to him, but I mean, I'm more in the sport to support my family than I am anything else.
Absolutely. Now, one more question and we'll let you go. I know we're going into overtime. My producers are letting me know that we've gone into overtime, but it's okay. This is an awesome interview with you. Brian Birkhofer, the winner of the World 100. I mean, bottom line, ETV Live Auto Sports Online Entertainment Network doesn't get these types of caliber drivers like we've had. And, I hate we couldn't get Scott Bloomquist on, but yeah, he had something else going on. We fell behind, but definitely to have you on. If I would rather have the winner on than the second place man, even if it was Scott Bloomquist, because you're the man of the hour. You're the winner. And Brian, I know you've won the world a decade ago. You won it back in 2002. 10 years later, 2012, you did it again. What World 100 means the most to you?
I mean, this is the last one I've done. I mean, the first one was definitely more emotional. This one here, I enjoy this one more because of the fact that I look at everybody that's involved with my racing and see how much it affected them. I mean, I enjoyed to win both of them, but this one here is so much more cool to me because I look at my wife, my kids, my sponsors. I look at what they're talking about and how they feel about it.
Absolutely.
To me, that's the coolest thing I can ever, I'm going to get the paycheck, but it's so cool to watch the people that are around and been involved in my racing for years to watch how they react to me winning the race or to us winning the race.
Absolutely.
Because without them guys, I mean, I wouldn't have had the opportunity or little bits and pieces. I mean, to me, that's the most fun thing. I texted a buddy of mine, Brian Doherty from Kaiser Manufacturing Integra Shocks. He's been a friend of mine. Me and him are big Steeler fans. We've been buddies for a long time. He texted me something last night. And to me, that's the most awesomest thing is just to watch the people react. That they've been involved with me for years. That is the funnest thing for me.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead. And I wanted to throw something else out there, too. I know that you are a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan because, dang it, I am, too. And I love how you had the Pittsburgh Steelers logo on the side of your driving helmet.
Yeah. A good buddy of mine, Andrew Ferguson, he did a little thing with Pittsburgh back in the day and sent me some decals, and we did that helmet. And then I still, after this... my wife just wrote something down. She's making fun of me as I'm talking here. I'm still ticked off about the performance of the Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday night, so I really don't think I won the World 100. I'm still upset about the
yes.
Ben for their reception. I'm still upset about that Sunday night.
Absolutely. And I want to throw something else out here. Me and Webb talked about it earlier. Webb, we discussed it that Birkhofer, both times he's beat Bloomer's been the runner-up of the World 100 behind him. And it's kind of like that Tom Brady and Eli Manning Super Bowl type deal between the Giants and the Patriots, where
awesome.
Exactly. It's just like Tom Brady, aka Scott Bloomquist, is thinking in his head, "This is the second damn time he's beat me."
Oh no, he was. I guarantee you, he was thinking, "This is the time I get him."
Scott Bloomquist to Scott Bloomquist and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And they don't look the same at all, though.
Hey, Brian, is it Meatloaf he looks like, or is it Fabio?
Wow.
It's a cross. He's more of Meatloaf with a little bit of Fabio.
Wow. Y'all watch it now. Come on now. Will y'all watch it?
Scott's going to see me. He's probably going to punch me in the face now.
Absolutely. Hey, and I'm going to see him first because I got to see him at Virginia Motor Speedway this weekend for the USA 100.
Well, he's probably going to have a 4-letter word for you, I guarantee it.
Absolutely. I hope he ain't tuning in and listening. No, and I'll tell you something else that we talked about before we let you go, Brian, and you thank out your sponsors and everybody here on the And the Winner Is Special World 100 Preview Race and Review Show. The scales. Webb, me and you talked about this earlier. I just really love how Eldora Speedway gets the fans involved with the scale area, because there are so many tracks all around the country. That is such an important, integral part in our sport. Because if you don't get the green light, you got the red light, your light, your two, whether it's an inch, a pound off or 200 pounds off, if your light at the scales, that red light gleams in its glory at Eldora and people see it. And I knew that there was just such a moment in the air. You can even feel it from watching the video that Eldora Speedway produced, that when you crossed victory lane and you took the checker flag, Brian, and you're going back and you're turning your car left and right and you pull into the pits to the tech area and you're just waiting patiently for that green light to light up on that bulb, what's going through your head? Because I know that that is an important part in racing. Now, I know it is for drivers, officials, announcers like me and Webb and Rick Eshelman. What's going through your head as a driver as you're going up to the scale area for that?
Well, actually, you got to back up to the middle of the back straightaway when you lift, and you're trying to get as close to the inner wall without hitting it, and trying to get whatever mud's left on the racetrack. That's when you start getting nervous. You're thinking about all that, but yeah, you wheel it. Well, I'm just giving everybody what I see.
You're exactly right.
And I wheel around there, and I wheel in. I'm like, man, did I get enough? I didn't feel like I got enough, man. How much gas did I burn? And you're like rolling up there, and I'm looking just as much as in awe as everybody probably staying in the pits. Either you're a Bloomquist fan and want to see me hit the red light, or a Burkhardt fan wants to see the green light. I mean, that's what it was. I was like, well, the green light, and then the cool thing was like when it hit the green light, and I was looking out, and I seen some of the faces that people I know or been buddies of mine, and everybody put their two arms up, and I cheered a little bit. I was just pumped about winning too, but I mean that's what it is, man. You just won one of the biggest races of my career. I don't know.
For the second time,
and I'm still partying a little bit today. So I figured I was going to party till Friday, and then I got a race Saturday. I'm semi-partying. We're trying to get stuff done and get stuff ready for this weekend. I worked on the yellow car. I worked on the black car.
Right.
I'm just trying to get through everything, get ready for Peebly on Saturday night. We leave Saturday morning. That both cars the yellow car will be 90% ready for Knoxville in 2 weeks. The black car's ready for this weekend, obviously, and but we're partying a little bit for last weekend as well.
Absolutely. And of course, he's talking about Knoxville, Iowa, the Knoxville Late Model Nationals. That's not going to be a long drive for you, is it? How far is Muscatine, Iowa from Knoxville?
A little over 2 hours.
It's not that bad. Not as far as Eldora.
No. I hope we get the same results, but it's not near the farthest drive, man.
Absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely. And by the way, tell your wife Alyssa congratulations as well, and tell her that she doesn't have to worry about getting back with me on Facebook because I've already got in contact with you.
So she takes care of everything, man. She's the best. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Brian, man, your final thoughts on winning the 42nd World 100 before you throw out your sponsors and everything in closure.
Well, I'd like to thank, obviously, Bill Schleeper with Pro Power and Bill and John and everybody up at Pro Power for building, an awesome engine. The thing ran. It was just awesome. And Jimmy and Chris Mars, obviously, because they helped me. We built these cars 3 to 4 years ago, and then ASI, J&J Steel, Doug DeMont, Jordan Zenz. I mean, I can keep naming people and I forget because when I get put on the spot like this, I always forget everybody. So I just want to thank everybody that's involved, and I appreciate you guys. and everybody else that's tries to promote our sport.
Now I got a question for you. Where did the nickname the Muscatine Madman come from? Did you go AWOL like Tony Stewart did at Bristol, throwing a helmet at Matt Kenseth and kind of got that nickname? And by the way, J.D. Webb, the executive producer, wanted me to tell you this. If NASCAR is selling Tony Stewart's helmet on eBay that he threw at Matt Kenseth, how much can it cost for Brian Burkhoffers?
I have no clue. The Muscatine Madman come from. You'd have to ask my wife. I don't know. I think if you know me personally,
put her on the
I'm
phone.
kind of a
We'll talk to her. Put her on the phone.
Alyssa,
Yeah.
Alyssa, come here, baby.
Webb, he's yelling for us. Come here, woman.
It's one of the few times a man can yell at his wife.
Hey, get over here
hey,
now.
You get on the phone, talk this interview. Hey, they got a question for you. Here you go. That's the first time.
Here we go. Alyssa. Hello, Alyssa.
Yes.
Alyssa, this is Wesley Outland. By the way, I just want to let you know now, ignore my Facebook message I sent you since we've got you on the show.
Okay.
Secondly, where did the nickname the Muscatine Madman come from?
Ozzy Altman came up with that.
Really?
Yeah, he came up with that a few years ago because we kept telling him we didn't like the name Berkey. You know what? He might have even started that in 1999 when Brian flipped at Batesville. He's called Brian that for a long time.
And Webb Dillard, we both know who Ozzy Altman is. That's exactly right.
Yeah, Ozzy is the one of the best ringmasters the sport knows.
Oh, I mean, he's definitely got the personality, and he's outgoing, and he's creative, and he's definitely top of the line when it comes to announcing.
He's up there with that personality of the Dwayne Goins wannabe.
Whoa.
Well, they kind of all, if you listen to them, they've all got their little quirks. Like James Essex, I always give him a hard time because I keep telling him, how many times in one night do I have to hear, "Are you serious?"
Are you serious? Here they come to the line. Are you serious?
Yeah.
And he is the only man that will promote a series in one syllable. The Lucas Oil Limit of Dirt series.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much for explaining us where that nickname came from.
Yeah, you'll have to ask Ozzy what originated it, but yeah,
okay.
He came up with it.
Definitely. Well, I might have to get Ozzy on the show one time. All right. Well, thank you. Let's get Brian back on and say sayonara and good luck to you guys in your next racing ventures.
All right. Thanks. Here he is.
Absolutely. That's Alyssa Burkhoff.
Hello.
Brian's better half on the line. And Brian, buddy, she explained it. Loudmouth Ozzy Altman gave it to you.
Yeah, it probably has something to do with, I told him one time, chips, dips, chains, whips, and I'm not going any further than that.
Wow. Hey, that's all we need to go, okay?
Does that end with go make a sandwich? Because I thought I heard that at Peevely, maybe. I got that on film, by the way, Brian.
Whatever I've said in the past, it wasn't me. It was the one-armed man.
Wow.
Hey,
wow.
Brian, I got that. I got the go make a sandwich speech on tape. So if you ever want it, I have it, and I won't. It's not going anywhere.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Definitely. Well, buddy, you take care of yourself, Brian. Congratulations on winning the World 100, and maybe we'll have you here on the next time. Next time that we can have you on the program. We can the next event you win, we have you back here on And the Winner Is again.
Well, yeah, that's why I took as much time up as I could. I might never win again. So I appreciate you guys having us on, and you guys have a great evening. And thank you all the fans for hopefully tuning in.
Absolutely. Definitely, man. You rock. Congratulations. Brian Burkhoffer, the Muscatine Madman, and he hates both of those nicknames, but he wins the World 100 for the 42nd time at the Eldora Speedway. Take care, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That is Brian Burkhoffer, a super great guy. Super great guy, man. I'm telling you.
I wonder if the Fabio and the Meatloaf thing goes anywhere. That was I apologize for that.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, man, I know that we are going into overtime. I've already been informed that I'm going to get my ass chewed out for going into overtime before we go off the air. So let's go ahead and close things out. Webb Dillard, your final thoughts on the show tonight?
Hey, I'm just glad I could be here to fill in. Live shows are sometimes you get curveballs, and you got to swing at those too. So you did a good job for keeping the show together, Wesley.
Absolutely, and I couldn't have done it without people like J.D. Webb, This is my sucking up time. This is how I get to keep my job. J.D. Webb, the executive producer, and, of course, the engineer, and basically the man that keeps the backbone of this whole program going, Mr. John Wessling from ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network. Also, a big thanks to Jason and Judy Short, Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you take the Shortway home. They're located out of Withville, Virginia. And, wow, what a great, great show it was. One more time at the World 100 at Eldora Speedway in less than 358 days. Webb Dillard, they'll line them up and they'll go at it again for the 43rd Annual World 100 Eldora.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm making plans of being up at both races next year. Got to be there.
We both need to be there. Maybe we could put something. And Dillard, by the way, you have an appointment with ETV Live.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely, Webb Dillard, man, I appreciate you filling in for Rick Eshelman. Like I said, Rick's in the middle of God's country out in Iowa, getting ready for their race this weekend, and obviously the phone signal not the best in God's country out there in the I guess was it the Wheatlands, the flat hills, whatever the hell it is.
It's BFE.
What is that?
I can't say the middle word.
F Egypt.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Webb Dillard, thank you so much. Hey, by the way, I hope y'all enjoy this interview. It's called. You enjoy this this little exit video. It's called "The End of the Summer." They used it for Eldora Speedway. I figured it'd be cool to use it for the final setting of our show tonight. And definitely we appreciate all the guests we had on. Mr. Brad Neat, Scott Bloomquist couldn't be here, but he sends his condolences, and of course, his condolences. He wished that he could have been on, but he had wife obligations, going out to dinner and things. And then, of course, the winner, Brian Burkhoff for the Muscatine Madman, winning from Muscatine, Iowa. I'm Wesley Outland for Webb Dillard. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this event sponsored by Shortway Real Estate Incorporated. The winner is Motorsports Show World 100 Special. And remember, me and Mike Neff are back on the air right here on ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network at 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Good night and God bless.
Peace.
Here we are at the end. Say goodbye to all your friends. Here we go, watching the sun go round, sitting on a rooftop, making time stop. I never wanna come back down, never wanna come down. That's where I wanna be. Say goodbye to the warm breeze. We could be almost anywhere. I'll miss you till the next time. I hope I see you there.